Hey guys, Janet here, aka Gameonysus, and today we are going to be talking about Nintendo's E3 2018 Direct, which was Smash, and, not much else. It was basically just a Smash Direct with a few little things thrown in here and there just to kind of try to make it seem like it's holistic, but really it was just kind of a deep dive into Smash. So I will say off the bat, this Direct was pretty disappointing. It just didn't really give me much of anything to look forward to for the rest of 2018, which was kind of what a lot of people predicted / were worried about with what a great year Nintendo had last year. It's like, okay, well, what else can you really do? So we'll first talk about what was there and then kind of acknowledge what wasn't there and why this Direct didn't really do a whole lot for me. And I don't think it did much for most fans in general, but let's just kind of run through what was talked about during this conference. So for starters, it began with Daemon Times Machina, I think is how you say that name, and it's like a mech game, but we're just kind of thrown immediately into this trailer. We don't really get much context, or any context at all for it. I'm not really sure what I'm looking at here or why I should care about it. Then from there we go directly into Xenoblade Chronicles 2's DLC, which at this point I'm like, oh, okay, so like you're not going to talk to me during this Direct, or kind of what's going on. It's not necessarily bad, but it just kind of felt like a little bit surprising. I was like, oh, that's an interesting choice. So after that, Reggie does appear to address the crowd and kind of talk about what we're going to be seeing next. I remember last year he came out and did like this really weird poem thing going on. I was really hoping that would happen again, but it did not. Would love to see what's on Reggie's Switch. I know we can see in the background lots of indies kind of displayed on screen, but that's neither here nor there. So the next thing we look at is Pokemon Let's Go. We kind of get reminders on what that game is, with a strong emphasis on the fact that you can join the adventure and have Pikachu or Eevee with you. The Pokeball Plus was a big highlight in that moment. We got confirmation that Mew would be available in the game. We heard Mew inside the Pokeball Plus. Then we're thrown into another trailer, and at first it's not really clear what's going on. Also, I find this little sequence that they had with like the people's faces to be kind of creepy and weird, and like just I wasn't a big fan of that. But then we have a new Mario Party game. This one's called Super Mario Party. I'm excited about this because it looks like they're finally going back to their roots of what made the Mario Party games awesome, which is a cool and fun board and lots of mini games. So that's the big thing that they highlighted on this trailer. The other thing that I've noticed too is they kind of show a lot of different ways to play. At one point they have like different Switch screens kind of acting as a sort of like game board for a specific mini game, and then you also see this kind of like a versus thing going on where you can have like two people face off against each other on different consoles. So I'm interested to see how that actually plays out in the game. Is it just like different modes you can access if you have multiple Switches, or does it play a more essential role in the game? I can't imagine that it does, but I'm just kind of curious as to how they're going to roll that out and incorporate that. So I'm really looking forward to picking up that title for sure, especially because the last Mario Party games have just sucked so badly. Like, you barely even have to play any mini games. You're all in that weird car together. Like, the last Mario Party burned me so bad that I wasn't even looking forward to a Mario Party game, but they look like they finally kind of did what I've been waiting for, at least. We get some Fire Emblem stuff as well, and we also got something that we've known is going to be coming for a long time. It's been rumored and leaked and whatever. Fortnite is officially on Switch. It's actually on Switch today. I already played a couple matches. I can definitely see this being huge. Obviously, Fortnite's huge, Switch is huge. You combine both those things and it's like amazing. Then we have Reggie come back out and he talks about indie development and having these indies on Switch, and he was like, oh, I'm going to show a couple indies that we've already seen, and then 2 ones we haven't seen. And as soon as he said this, I was just like, can we get the ones that you've promised us from before out already? Because I love indies on Switch. I also am wary of indie stuff getting announced and then it just drags to actually come out, and since they're smaller games, they don't really get as much attention, so there's a little bit less pressure, I think, on Nintendo to get those onto console, and then it's just kind of a lot of wait time. So I'll see games and get excited for them, but then the reality is when is this game actually going to be playable? On that note, Hollow Knight is out, and that's out today, which is cool. So I might pick that one up. I'm just going to kind of double check some more details on the genre and the style and see if it's for me. The aesthetic is definitely for me, though. It's a beautiful, beautiful game, and I know a lot of people have really enjoyed it. Overcooked 2 is coming, and that's going to be dropping August 7th. I didn't actually finish the campaign of Overcooked, the first one, so now I kind of feel compelled to do that. and start fresh with this new one. A couple other small games were mentioned, like Killer Queen Black came up, and it was mentioned that you can play with 2 teams of up to 4 each, and that's going to be coming out, I think, rather soon. Octopath Traveler got another bump that is a Switch exclusive and a new IP that's going to be dropping in July. Starting on June 14th, though, there's an additional demo on the eShop. After that, we got this really, really huge slew of games, like this just giant, humongous game trailer for just a bunch of different titles that are coming to Switch. Everything from things we've already heard about before, like Dark Souls, to stuff that we know will be coming to Switch at this point, like FIFA and Just Dance, to some smaller titles that you're like, did I see this before? Did I not? And all those are kind of thrown together just to kind of remind you of just like what a vast library the Switch has and continues to acquire and build. So there like are still things to pick up, whether they're ports, new games, or what have you. So they have that trailer in there, and that was cool. So at this point, things are going pretty well. It's trucking along. Then we swing over to talk about Smash. We get confirmation that the name is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and in order to kind of live up to that name, they went ahead and have every character that's ever appeared in a Smash game. They're all going to be in this one game, which was crazy. The reveal for that was really cute. They started by talking about what characters that they would have available and start listing them off. And then at a certain point, they just go, everyone's here. And they just talk about how literally every character ever is there. That was their main focus for the game. They actually mentioned multiple times, like, we hope this is kind of like enough for you guys, or that you guys are happy with this, because we put a lot of work into it. They refer to it as making the impossible possible, and I think that the challenge of that definitely warrants that extreme statement, because I mean, having all these characters all in one game is just going to be incredible and really, really fun. They also refer to it as like the biggest crossover in gaming history, which was funny. You know, I was just thinking about the like Infinity War, basically, when they said that. Then after that, they kind of just did a deep dive. They did mention that like what characters you might start off with might be as small as like 8 characters, but they said they tried to make unlocking characters like fun, but also like compelling. So we'll see how the different ways you can unlock these characters and how long it actually takes to unlock the characters will be interesting. They mentioned there's lots of returning stages. One really cool thing is they said that each stage has like basically a regular version, like a battlefield version, I think is maybe their terminology, and an omega form. So like you kind of get more bang for your buck in that sense in terms of just what the stages have to offer, since they have those like 2 different versions of them, just to kind of like broaden the experiences that you have. And for me, definitely as a casual Smash player, right, I'm not really, I'm not going competitive. I don't really care, as long as it works. I don't really care that much in terms of the feel necessarily, at least not as much as I think other players might. So for me, all I want is variety. I want lots of stages, I want good stages, and I want a lot of characters. So for someone like me who's definitely more on the casual end, that's great. That's all I really want. If you're more into the technical side, they also did a little deep dive into that and talked about the new like ultimates of these characters and or what like their final smash is, as well as just some small nuances in terms of like how they changed the designs of certain characters, but also the way they function. They talked about like other technical things like, okay, yeah, you can, you can dash, but if you dash too many times, like you end up kind of like, there's like a little bit of extra time for you to kind of reset yourself. They talked about just how you do different moves, different like defensive moves, how the shield functions in this one, small character design changes they made, like there's a little like indicator on the side of Rob the Robot, and you can tell how much like fuel he has left to do his jump and things like that. So a lot of like small details in there. Of course, obviously now we know this is definitely not a port. They did go back and do a lot of extra things. Like it will kind of feel like, I think, what they're selling, which is the ultimate version of Smash. On that note too, for those of you guys who are, heavy into Melee, they do let you use the GameCube controller. I'm interested to see how they're exactly going to have that work for Switch specifically, but they said the GameCube controller will work, as well as your amiibo will all work, and any data that you have on amiibo from previous games can transfer over into this new game. As far as new characters, we have, of course, the Inklings, and we have Ridley from Metroid. But on that note, we don't really have much else for Metroid, right? We didn't hear anything about Metroid. We didn't hear anything about Yoshi, right? What's going on with Yoshi? Is that game still happening? When can we play that game? Those would have been really good things to mention and have. We also got also that release date for Smash is December 7th. So really what was most noticeable in this Direct was just how empty it kind of was. There just wasn't a lot to be excited about. It felt like a normal Direct, and it felt like honestly a weaker version of what a normal Direct is. Like, we get so many Directs as Nintendo fans, and some of them were like really good, and some of them are just kind of like, it's whatever. And this one was kind of more along those lines. So it was very underwhelming. Pretty disappointing, but I'm not necessarily mad. I'm just I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, basically. So, yeah, underwhelming would be the key word that I would use to describe this Direct. But I'm kind of just like, oh, all right. So usually, people would joke that, like, E3, it's like, oh my god, all my money's gone. When it comes to Nintendo's Direct for E3, it's like, well, I guess I don't have to really worry about buying a lot of games until next year. And that's basically it. Kind of I feel like a flat note to end on, but honestly that's how this Direct and their little kind of conference thing left me feeling. It just didn't really give me much of anything, and now we just wait. I feel like next year they're slated to like definitely kill it, but for this year it was very much like, is that it? Is there anything else? Where's Animal Crossing? Where's Animal Crossing also? So, we'll see when all those things get resolved. I feel like they'll all get resolved in that, like, in one moment, but today is not that moment, and I was really hoping it would be, and I think a lot of fans were too. So, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of Nintendo's Direct for E3 2018. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys here next time. Bye!